In today's video, we're going to cover how to help a horse over a tarp and get comfortable with the tarp. I've got Dulcinia here. She's a 10-year-old quarter horse, and the bag has been something that she's really bothered with, and just different things down on the ground and things around her feet. So I thought she'd be a good one to just kind of show you. So the main thing is just getting them comfortable with the object, but getting a horse to go over a tarp, getting him to go over a jump, or loading in a trailer, things like that are all related. And the big thing that you're looking for is getting in time with the horse. Is the horse thinking? So she knows already. We've done quite a bit of lunge work with her, so every time I bring my life up, I want a response. I want her to think forward, and so that's what I did there. Now, you really want to watch the horse's mind. So the moment her mind checks out, so she kind of checked in, she got a little concerned by it, and then she softened and her mind went somewhere else. At that moment is when I want to then come in and say, oh, and stay engaged with the tarp. So I'm going to bring my life up. I'm going to activate my stick here a little bit. And then I'm going to, as soon as she's checked in, I'm like, yeah, thank you. That's good. That's what I'm looking for. And there her mind starts to leave. So then I bring up my life again and say, okay, let's check in with the tarp. So I'm constantly saying, bring your mind back to the tarp. I'm not saying you must get on there right now. It's more about just stay engaged with it. Don't check out. Like here, she's starting to check out. So then I bring my life up again. And if she needs to do that, that's fine. I'm just going to let her walk through it and get comfortable. I can disengage, change sides, and ask her to come on up here. So she's actually being very willing to check in. Yeah, so she checked in, then she's like, oh, I've got to leave. So I'm going to allow her to move her feet if that's what she needs, but then keep bringing her back into check in with the tarp. Like there, she's kind of left. She's not focusing at all. So I'm like, okay, just step forward. I either want her to walk through this alley or to check in with the tarp there, and the alley's the space between me and the tarp. Yeah, so she goes through and she gets just a tiny bit concerned by it. And then I'm disengaged and I'm going to bring her back. And keep getting her to focus in on the tarp. There mentally she's not really engaged, so I get a little firmer. And as soon as she checks in, I soften with my stick, but there's a difference between softening the driving force and disappearing. I don't want to disappear with a horse that is anxious about something. She's anxious about the tarp. So I want to stay here with her to say, hey, I'm here. It's kind of like you're holding a child's hand as you're walking down the street. You don't want to just let go of the hand and totally disappear. And that's the idea here, is every time she checks in with the tarp, I soften, but I'm still present. I'm still like, I'm here to help you. And there, then she checked in, she wanted to leave, and I just soften, but I'm still present. I'm still here. Then I can just lift my life back up again and say up and come back to the tarp. Yeah, that was nice. And ask her to come back to the tarp. Yes. And that time I'm going to give her that moment because she kind of thought about leaving, but it wasn't a reaction. It was more of a thought, and then she didn't. And so I'm just going to be like, oh, thank you. That's fine. I might even just go up and rub on her and just prove to her, hey, you know, life's good. It's all right. And then ask her back up. So it's all about how can I help her get comfortable with this tarp. Because to her, the tarp's like something that's going to eat her. And so she has to get comfortable and realize, oh no, this isn't anything that's going to hurt me. Yeah. Nice. And I've been doing a lot of flag work with her, and that is really helping her get more comfortable with this, because without that work, the tarp just flapping up in the wind a little bit there would have set her off. So if your horse is really concerned, that might be something to think about, is going back. And you know, I got a couple videos on that with her, and you can kind of go over that and just see how to help your horse with the flag work. But here, yeah. And I like that she's able to stay standing there as the tarp's just kind of flapping a little bit in the wind. Hey, I almost put her foot on it. And so here I'm just going to ask her to step through, all the way through, nice. And she stayed nice and relaxed. That was really good. And then I'm going to bring her into the other eye. So you do want to make sure you're bringing them up from both sides, because they're going to see it more in one eye than the other. See, she's a little bit more bothered in that eye, and so I'll just have her come around and do that side again. In working on the tarp here, or trailer loading, or having them go over a jump, is a great way to teach you how to get good timing, because you really want to stay connected with them. So like there, she's kind of checking in. She's a little bit she's kind of leaving now, but she's releasing there. Now she's starting to kind of go inward, but there's lots of blinking. So I'm letting her just kind of absorb that for a moment. And then I'm going to say, okay, now can you give me just a little bit more? So I'm not forcing it. There, nice. And with some horses, there's a lot more reaction. When they get bothered, they'll want to kind of spin and turn off and go around. And I'll let them move their feet. There's nothing wrong with that. We're here, it's a lot more subtle. So I just keep bringing her back. Let her check in, but not check out. Yeah, good. And there, she's kind of leaving. So she starts leaving, then I'm going to help her. Nice. So again, I'm softening, but I'm not disappearing. If you disappear, that support for her can leave, and they can go, where did you go? And I don't want to disappear on her. I still want to stay here. I just want to soften to reward her. Say, yeah, that's the answer. That's the answer. Now I'm just going to take a little sand and throw it up on there just to see the reaction. And there really wasn't much of a reaction. Some horses that would really bother them, so I might spend some time helping them with that. Because as they come up, they'll oftentimes kick sand onto the tarp, and that can bother them. Hey, nice. Because she got the corner of the tarp with her foot and actually moved the tarp a little bit. And she got a little bit startled by it, but nothing serious. She came out of that pretty quickly. So I'm going to bring her back in from this side. Yeah. This is nice. So just kind of, the first time she's really come up and hung over the tarp, so I'm just going to give her that. So it's not all about more. I get a little bit more than I've gotten, then I'm like, oh, thanks. And now I'm going to say, can you give me a little bit more? And that was a nice step, so I let her hang out here with that. She's seeing the tarp kind of flap a little bit. Yeah. Ask her back up again. And I want you to notice my hand, my lead rope hand is putting a tiny feel on, but I'm not pulling it. I'm not saying you must get over with the lead rope. It's just more of a direction. And I'm insisting or persuading with the stick. It's more of an energy with my stick of saying, okay, now let's give me a little bit more. Yeah, nice. And I like the calm look in her eye. She's not really worried here. Very nice. Good, she stepped on it a little bit of concern. And she pulled it a little bit with her foot, and it wasn't a big deal. So I'm directing with the lead rope, but not pulling. Good. And ask again. Ah, thank you. Good girl. Well, that was really good. She stepped on it, but got a little startled, but didn't just freak out, didn't flip out and say, oh, I gotta run. She's really thinking her way through this. At one moment there, you might not have seen it in the video, but she thought about going over it. And then I was like, oh, thank you. And help her. Yeah. Nice. Let her hang out there. Sometimes too is I'll just come on and I'll walk over it myself just to show them, hey, doesn't eat me. She doesn't really, need that. She's, already standing on it, but just sometimes if your horse is just really concerned by it, is you might go hang out on it. There you go. And you might see it in a moment here, we'll see, but oftentimes they get on and then they'll start pawing and then they'll kind of drag it, and that can startle them too. Yeah, nice. Awesome. So I just let her go over it, and then I'm just gonna kind of give her a moment. Be like, hey, no big deal. And ask her back the other way. And it's your choice whether you want to take them back over the other way or have them go around the same direction again. So sometimes if they go over one way and you just keep going the same way, that's fine till they get a little better, and then you can go the opposite direction. You decide what's going to be best for your horse. For her, I felt like, oh, okay, she's pretty good. That was pretty nice. We can try the opposite way here. Yeah, good girl. And that was nice too. So she's really thinking her way through there. Turn her around, bring her back the other way. Way to go. So just a slight hesitation. Now I'm just going to take her around, and what I'd really like to see is we get to the point where there's virtually no hesitation, where she's just like, okay, there's a tarp there on there, so what? Like that. That was really nice. So she kind of checked in, but she's like, oh, it's not enough to concern me or slow me down. Good. And I like that too. And now I'm going to ask her to pick up a trot, and we'll just see, can she trot over it. Now, you don't have to, if your horse is really bothered or concerned with this might take you a week or two of working with this to get them to trot over it. But that was nice. Yeah, she heard a little noise, a little sand hitting it. A little worry, but not that big a deal. And bring her the other way. Very nice. Way to go. So I'm really impressed with her. I thought this was going to be a much bigger deal than it was, just because of all the issues she had with the flag. But again, I think the flag really helped her be comfortable with this. And so when you go out to play with the tarp, don't force it. Take your time. Even if you don't get them over in the first day, and they come up, they get to where they check it out, and you just take them back and forth, or you have them go between you and the tarp. Do that until they get comfortable, more and more comfortable. You start closing that gap, and eventually they start going over, or they start stepping on it, that sort of thing. So just take your time and really work on your timing. The timing of, as soon as the horse checks out, can you be there and say, hey, and can you give me more? And when you soften, when you say thank you, when they've given you more, don't just totally disappear. Soften, but still be there, kind of like you're saying, yes, you can. You're the encourager. You're the one there rooting them on, saying you've got this. And that'll really help your horse out because you can give your horse some of your confidence. Hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.